Hello, everyone. This is Lorenzo Serna, Director of Tactical Media here at the Indian Collective. We're at day 2 of the community art build that's going on in Rapid City, South Dakota. I have no idea what you're saying. Just gotta say it out loud. I'm getting notes. I'm trying to read lips, can't do it. But anyways, March Towards Justice. This community art build's here. We're hoping to just kind of give you a little more perspective on why this is coming together. Yesterday we showed you, if you look at our socials, there's some videos, some photos, community members coming in, making art together, working together to kind of prepare for their time in the streets. Again, it is a family-friendly event. If you look at those photos, there's children everywhere, all ages, all genders. People are just coming together to drive forward this need for justice here in Rapid City, really across everywhere, but we're really focused on what's going on here. And we're hoping that we can give you a little more perspective and some story of why folks are organizing this. And also today we're going to be talking to the Lakota Lockup Project, who's one of the over 60 organizations who signed up to support this march. So again, I'm Lorenzo Serna. Happy to be here, excited, overjoyed always. And again, take a look at the art build so you can get a little more, learn a little more of what's going on in the station, sort of how you can just step in, start making art, start learning, and just start participating, I guess. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and hand this off and just let folks introduce themselves, and then we'll just have a short conversation about why is this march happening. So did you want to introduce yourself and just let people know?
So, hi, my name is Stephanie Yellow Eagle. I am a field coordinator for Lakota Lockup Project. So, Lakota Lockup Project advocates for American Indians affected by the justice system. We support innovative approaches for cultural and historical trauma survival that rebuilds lives, strengthens communities, and enables economic justice through provisions of traditional family services, substance and alcohol abuse treatment, and equal access to education. So we also, our long-term goal is to provide more access to cultural healing programs. Rapid City has a few, but that this is our long-term goal. We need more treatment programs and centered around cultural. And so I became a part of Lakota Lockup Project because my uncle Philip Still, he is a political prisoner of South Dakota. He has one of the best prison records and has done a lot behind bars. And he's been in there for 31 years. And behind bars, he has started the Fam First program. So that is the Fathers Against Meth program. And he is a product of systemic racism from boarding schools, training schools, foster care, jails, and now prison. He has had an unfair trial, and the parole board is holding him in prison. So despite all of these great things he's doing behind bars, and me joining Lakota Lockup Project, which was started in Mike Durfee State Prison by Mr. Robert Horse, they see the things that are going on too. We're overrepresented in jails and in prison, and that's not just a South Dakota problem. That is a problem across the United States. We only have so much. So actually, we're underrepresented also, despite all of this. But Native people make up 10% of the population of South Dakota, but 51% are in prison. And so in America, we only make up, 2% of the population, I believe. So we carry a lot of the prison and jail population numbers. As of April 30th, 2023, South Dakota Department of Corrections statistical report reported that 979 Native American males are currently in prison. This doesn't include who is in jail. This is just prison numbers. So they are imprisoned at 4 times higher than than other ethnicities. And then as for Native American females, there was 357 females incarcerated. And they are imprisoned at a higher rate than males, and that is 6 times more. So we just want to get the word out that what's happening to our people is that we're incarcerated way more than any other ethnicity, and that's just not right, especially because there's only so much of us here. And what's the end results of all of this. Why is South Dakota doing this to us? Not only just South Dakota, but this is a United States issue. So, it's not just Native Americans that are committing these crimes, but we're the only ones that are being held accountable, apparently. And, we need to stop these numbers. They're just way too high. And, getting out there and showing people these actual facts on it is a good start to trying to put an end to this. I'm going to pass the mic over to one of our members.
Hello, my name is Sonny Hayes. I'm a enrolled member of Standing Rock from Rapid City, and I help this organization because I believe in it shining light on the whole situation here in Rapid City and the police brutality and then the murders of our people. So, my personal experiences of dealing with police officers in Rapid City, being handcuffed and my face bounced off the ground, and this is just in 2019, and then thank God that I'm alive to be here, and so I'm just want to shine light on state facts that we need to stand together to stop this, prevent this, and get equality out there, so we get treated the same, instead of getting murdered, to be honest, I'm scared to get pulled over by police, and I also do a lot of good out there, help with a youth group, and for instance, the police pulled up over there one day at a church, and then all the kids took off screaming, so it's just stating facts, so I'm proud to stand up with this coalition of all these different organizations and just speak truth, and facts, the name of the police officers that beat me up, his name was Eric Holmesquist and Brian Fletchner. I tried to do 2 different times of putting protection orders against these police officers, but nothing ever came about it. And it seems like it's just me standing up against these Rapid City police force, so I'm just asking for help and maybe prayers, maybe in a good way, peaceful way, we can prevent these officers from killing each other, or killing our people. So with that being said, I'll just pass the mic over to you.
Hello, relatives. My name's Andrew Cat Ironshell. I'm a father of 6, and I recently moved to Minneluzaha up here in Rapid City, South Dakota. I'm really concerned about this issue because my son is entering high school this year in Rapid City, and he's really has a lot of anxiety about doing that, entering high school in Rapid City after, growing up on our tribal nation. Coming up here is a new dynamic for him, and already he's experienced in the middle school. He's an 8th grader going into 9th grade now. He's already felt the racism that exists, and it's not from his peers. It's somewhat from the staff and students and administration in the middle school that he attends, South Middle School. And he's just deathly afraid to go to Central because of all the abuse. We've had an autistic relative who was assaulted by an SRO officer in the high school. And so my son sees that. He sees his relative being abused in a high school that's supposed to be a safe place for him. And he's just one child. There's children that have grown up in Rapid City who deal with this daily, from the time they enter elementary school until they get to high school. And so it's very alarming. I'm very concerned as a father, as a person of this community. And I hope that we can all join together and find shared solutions for healing, for wellness, because we just are asking the simplest thing, dignity and respect, and to follow the law. What's so hard about accountability? I don't understand what's so hard.
Thank you, everyone. And again, we're going to be talking about some pretty heavy topics, so just to say a content warning for folks out there. So you're talking about your uncle who was locked up, and then you were saying that it was it 51% of locked up folks in Rapid City are Indigenous?
Well,
In Rapid City, yeah.
it's 63%.
63%. And
In the juvenile system, it's 75%.
75%. And then we made like how much percentage of the population?
In South Dakota, it's 51%.
Yeah, but we were like 10%, you say, or 12% of the overall?
10% of population
Yeah.
is native to South Dakota.
And I guess when I'm hearing those, I feel like it doesn't. I mean, those numbers are wild.
Yeah.
But what does that effect do to families when they're taking our people away and putting them in prison? Can you speak to that a little bit? Of like, what is the effects? Because like we hear those numbers, but that affects our communities, that affects our children, that affects our families, that affects our memory, our trauma. It's just everything, right? And I was wondering if you can kind of speak to that.
So with my uncle being in prison for 31 years, he has been in prison longer than I have been alive. And that has a lot to say. I met him in prison when I was 5 years old. And that's the first time I've ever had an encounter with him. And I just remember visiting him and playing games and stuff like that. But as I grew older and became more educated in this, I realized how screwed up this system is. They failed him the moment he went to boarding school. This is what the government has done to our people. He is one of many who are going through this. It's not just him, and it's really sad that this is one of many stories that are all the same, but we're all Indigenous. And so I feel like the system was designed to fail our people. That's just how I feel, because the moment he went to boarding school, already there, you're losing out on years of knowledge from relatives and cultural practices and things like that, just being stripped away from you. And then from boarding school, he went to training school. And so from there, it's just more trauma and abuse. And it happened everywhere he went. The moment he left there, he ended up in a foster home. And we still don't understand why he ended up in a foster home whenever my grandma had all her other children. Why was he taken away? And then from there, it's just like the way he was bounced around from institution to institution, and it was a loss, it felt like this system just took a hold of him and didn't let him go, and he's still in the system, and they won't release him because of the parole board. It's not the state of South Dakota that's doing this. This is the parole board that is holding him there, because the people that are on the parole board, some of them are old judges, and one of the judges that are on the parole board was in his case. So why isn't that an issue? Somebody who had played in the hands of taking him into prison, why are they still making decisions on him being in prison? He shouldn't be. That's just like a conflict of interest, I believe. So just having these relationships with people who are incarcerated is very sad. I'm telling my uncle all of these great things I'm doing behind bars to try to help them, because they're humans too. Just because they're incarcerated doesn't make them any less different than anybody else. So we need to also stand up for the people that are incarcerated, because it was designed to fail. There's so many of them in there. I went to a prison powwow back in May, and it was quite sad seeing how many males are all in there incarcerated, and we're all Indigenous. And it's just like, why are we overrepresented in these institutions? We're not the only ones committing crimes. It's just a big mess. And then just having those family dynamics from prison and outside of prison is hard. There's a lot of communication gaps where I can only talk to him once a day when he calls me. And that's just sad. We built a relationship over the phone, and I don't get to visit him as often because he's 6 hours away. And so, it's just really sad. We can't forget the people who are behind bars. And, these are supposed to be our protectors too, as women, so it's scary.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing all that. I didn't know if, so you mentioned that all these children ran from the police when they showed up. Yeah. And do you know why they ran? Was it because they were scared? We're working with some local youth organizations, and, their perception. They're sharing with us these experiences they're having. So I don't know if you can kind of explain to people why, when somebody sees the police show up, they're not, because I feel like in this society, like police are showing up, and we're taught they're here to help. And like, what is your experience when they show up for you in our communities, I guess?
Like, to me, the children are scared because it's like the children ain't gonna lie. There's no reason to lie. Like, probably with their dealings, their own personal experience of police taking away their mom or their dad, or seeing their mom and dad getting thrown to the ground, and beat up or shot at, just injustices, so I don't want my kids, and like her not to ever get handcuffed and her face to bounce off the ground until she's bloody, and then forgotten about, so that's why help them stand up with these guys to stop the silence, and just make it stop, in a good way, so I pray to Kashila Wankatanka that our voice gets heard and in a good way, and that we could all stand together and maybe end racism, hopefully, or stop or get rid of the cops that are racist around Rapid City, and maybe give them more training, That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Thank you. And so I was thinking too, I'm Chicanx, I'm Mexican American. I think that's a good way for people to understand. And I was brought up to understand that if I went to school and I got in trouble, it was to be a mark on my record forever, and that they were trying to get me to have these marks, and they're trying to sink me. And no matter what I did, they're watching, and if I messed up, it was a messing up for life. And that was like 8th grade, right? That's what I was taught. And so thinking about that, and even thinking about, we're talking about SROs, you're talking about how this started at boarding schools, the history. This started before. It's been going on systematic. It's from the get, right?
It's fresh in our genes, this type of stuff. Like, people have to take in account that intergenerational trauma, historical trauma, is passed on through DNA. So this stuff didn't just happen hundreds of years ago, like people say. This is my parents, grandparents, their grandparents, this is our histories. And so whenever you have all these people walking around with unhealed traumas, it can brew chaos. But then there's people who are trying to heal as well. And some people don't understand that we have to heal even though we didn't experience it firsthand. It's in us. And so we have to heal, and we have to heal so we can heal our children and generations to come. This isn't just, this didn't happen overnight. We have been facing 500 years of genocide, and this is just systematic systematic racism is just another thing that our people have to deal with. Being Indigenous already has a target on your back from whoever, so.
Thanks. And I was to say too, so, and kind of speaking to kind of what you're saying, I'm a parent, and for my child, I'm just how do I make positive experiences, right, every day? I don't want no one to yell around my kid, but then there's all these other things going on around my life all the time. And I'm hearing you, and you're saying that you're worried, it's your child is in school, and there's somebody sitting there waiting for them to mess up to put them in the system, right? There's an officer who's watching, waiting, and to whatever's going to happen, that's their goal. It's they're gonna put that mark on them. And so I'm kind of wondering, if you can speak to that, what that, we hear that school to prison pipeline, right? It doesn't mean nothing unless we explain it. And so I'm can you kind of break that down where it's in these schools now, there's people waiting for a child to mess up in their system of what is wrong, right and wrong, to basically put them into the system. And I don't know if you can speak to that.
Yeah, most definitely. I believe it was July 1st. There's a new law in South Dakota. It's a 3-strike law. And so what that does for the existing officers that already are in the school, it's a new tool for them to kind of eliminate the problem child, the ones that they see as the problem child, which are brown like me, brown like my children. And the 3-strike law, you could just be late 3 times, and then you're criminalized, you're in the criminal system. And several times I've had nephews that are already in Central High School here in Rapid City they're out doing cultural things the night before. So they may be singing traditional singing at wakes, at a funeral, at ceremonies for our elders, and then they're late for class the next morning because they're out there doing these beautiful things for our people, healing our people in the way that young people do. And then when they come to school, they're yelled at. How come you're late? Almost shamed because they're late, when they were actually doing something good and they felt good about it until that moment when they walked in to the classroom and kind of got chewed out. Well, you know you need to be here, right? And so it's just, it's frustrating. It's frustrating for our students because on one hand they're being told, you know, help your people in any way that you can, and then when they go to the school, they're reprimanded for that. And it's really a historical, it's historical. These things have been going on since boarding school. My dad was 93 years old when he passed, and he went through the same things that my students go through. Why is that? Because I live in America.
Well, thanks everybody again for joining us. I think, does anybody have any other thoughts they want to share? So I just wanted to bring folks here and kind of have a conversation so you can see why people are organizing this march, why it's a family event, why they're bringing children, why everyone's going to be there, to show that things have to change. I think a lot about Rapid City versus racism. There's like signs everywhere, and how it's Rapid City, which is a city of people, all sorts of people, Indigenous people, white people, black people, queer people, all sorts of people. And that's what's being asked to come together, is the people. And the people are coming together. They're going to be in the streets March 4th for an event. It is a protest. It is supposed to raise awareness. It is supposed to be noticed. And it's to be noticed in a good way. And that's what's being brought out here, is all this good energy. And, you know, there's other opposing forces that feel differently, but, you know, I just want folks to listen to what people are saying here as to why they're coming, why folks are coming together. And again, where can people learn more about the Lakota Lockup Project, if you want to share that real quick?
So we do have a Facebook page. You guys should go and like it. We're a pretty small organization right now. Not many people know about us. We also have a website, LakotaLockupProject.org, and basically we're just trying to spread the word about the injustices that Indigenous people face every day. Every day something is happening to someone, so we just need to spread the word, and everybody needs to come out and join us on the march on Tuesday, July 4th, and bring everyone you know, because this isn't just an issue for me. You know, this is an Indigenous problem for us that we all face. We all face racism every day in our lives. So we just need to get out there, and everyone needs to show up and, you know, spread the word and inform Rapid City, because there are a lot of citizens in this town that just, they don't see the issues, and they fail to see the issues, almost like they don't even want to learn. So, you know, we just need to spread the word.
All right, and again, thanks for being here. If you go to if you want to learn more about the statistics and some more of the history, you can see in the description there should be a link to a blog that you can read more and learn more about the things we're trying to share about here, and to make folks sort of be visible, because a lot of it is invisibilized as we sort of this society tries to wipe it away and pretend that things are going okay, which they're not. Another thing too, tomorrow there's going to be a press conference at 1 p.m. on the north side of, I think it's City Hall, is it? Yeah, so again, the press, I'm sure you want to get your interviews. There's going to be a lot of speakers there. Definitely show up, come, ask questions, be present, listen. And then, well, I hope to see you on the 4th. I'll be there. Let's look for the mic. And we'll just be talking to folks, trying to get more stories out to the people, to really bring this issue to the surface, because that's the only way it's going to change. And for those out there, you know, that I always like to say that change is the thing that's going to happen no matter what. And we can either be involved in it and, you know, make it a positive change for everybody, or it's just going to change over us without us being involved. It's just going to happen anyways. And so I'm really empowered and just really thankful for everyone who's come out and is being willing to take the streets and be present and say enough's enough, and we're going to see a better world tomorrow, and that tomorrow is going to be today. So we'll see you in the streets on Tuesday, and we'll see you at the press conference tomorrow. And if you come out to the art build, I think we still got a couple hours, so it's still happening, Rapid City. And that's it. Well, yeah, all right, we're good to go. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, thank you.